Hey yo, it's your boy Sam Duke,
It's your man Tim McHale.
It's your boy Warren P.
and you are watching or listening to another great episode of You
You
Good,
good,
bruh.
bruh?
Man, we haven't done that in months, bruh.
Right.
Long time. That feels good to be able to
Yeah.
do that, bruh. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Not even gonna lie to
Damn
you.
right.
It's good to see you, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
You know what, man? I'm not even gonna say blessed and highly favored. I'm gonna say, you know, God has been good in so many ways that I don't have enough time to detail.
Man,
You know what I mean? Like it's been a blessing, and I hope it bless your life to hear that. That in spite of everything, I'm doing great.
man, that's good to hear, bro. That actually just uplifted me just a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to
Good.
you. I'll say that because I haven't talked to you in so long. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we haven't been in this space doing this for a while, and it's good to know that you're feeling like that.
That's right.
What about you, Warren?
I'm blessed, man. Like it feels good to start getting the joy back again.
God
That's
is
loving
good.
and
You see
caring
this?
right there.
See
Yeah,
what I'm talking about?
all the
That's what
time.
I'm talking about.
I didn't mean to cut you off, bro,
It's-
but
oh nah, you
literally,
straight.
food delivered. His
Nah,
Damn.
daughter's
that's
delivered.
that's true. But nah, I'm I'm blessed. Like I'm good. I'm happy. Um, feeling like myself again, man. It's been so up and downs, but finally getting back to that point to whereas I'm no longer faking happiness. Like I actually feel it. Not saying I don't have my moments where I shed tears and stuff like that, but the
Mhm.
feeling of not having a fake, like, nah, I'm genuinely happy. I see my guys again. I'm blessed to see y'all. Thankful for that. Get to
Yep.
see, your support system and stuff like that. So, man, I'm just thankful, grateful, all those things.
Man, that's great, bro. I'm so happy for you, bro. I'll speak for myself when I say before I even tell you how I'm feeling. I'm gonna say thank you to your wife for getting us back on here
On schedule.
doing this
Back on schedule.
back on schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because
Love
I
you,
feel
baby.
like what we talk about, the world needs to talk about what we talk about, and I will just say I've been blessed, bro. Life has been good. Uh, you know, I can't complain about nothing. I mean, the girls, my daughters are getting older, and
Praise God.
and with them getting older, I feel as if I'm becoming more present in my life, more present than I've been in a very long time. You spend a lot of time thinking about the future, and figuring out the past. I'm really gotten to a point where I every day am very intentional in spending time with my girls and spending time with my wife and family, and even being intentional about growing. And so I'm happy and I'm blessed to be in the space that I'm in. And so I'm glad that we're all in this kind of space because this is going to be
Mhm.
perfect for the conversation that we're about to have, my guy. Um, to start, I'm going to say this. I read a book, and 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 I read it from the beginning to the end, the whole thing. I ain't bullshitting, just kind of
Yeah, in the chokehold, huh?
yeah, but it. I mean, I'll say this: the book is a book that I feel like everybody should read. I don't think everybody will like, but I think everybody should read. Um, the name of the book is called A Sky Full of Elephants, and the subtitle of the book is In a World Without White People, What Does It Mean to Be Black? And and at first I was like, yeah, I mean, it should sound cool, right? It
Mhm.
sound cool. But then I opened up the page, and the first thing that happened was all white people in the world walked into the nearest body of water and never came out. And it left the United States as we know it as a total country without white people. And I guess in order to go into the story a little bit more, there's the jails opened up, all the black criminals came home. They had been rehabilitated, and the main character is a man that was in prison for rape. He was accused of rape and convicted of a rape. And at the end of the first chapter, he meets his daughter calls him. He has a daughter that he's been estranged from since she was born, and she's upset and she needs someone to take her from the north of the United States down to the south of the United States. But
Mhm.
is half white, and she's been staying with her white family all of her life, but all of them woke up one morning and
And walk into the river.
walked into the lake. And when I tell you, and I won't go into the whole story about everything, but I will tell you what I found the most profound about this book is what blackness looked like. So this guy who's the main character, he went from being in prison to being a professor at Harvard. That's where he was doing when his daughter called him to say, I need you to take me basically across the country. The country as we see it, that it was, I mean, that as it is in the book, the country where he was staying in DC was still a functioning space.
Yeah.
People were going to work, people were going to people were going to work, kids were getting educated. The only systems that were no longer here were systems that have been perpetuated by the need from white folks, meaning like it was difficult to get gas. Everybody was driving electric cars, right? Because electricity was something that we could sustain, that kind of thing. But when it comes to like the oil and the fossil fuels and that kind of thing, it's very difficult to kind of come by because nobody had a need, so to speak, for those type of things. And what I just found, what I found just super profound about it is the civilizations that were created throughout the book. There was this idea that the South was because of the type of blacks that are in the South was a place that nobody wanted to go to. So everybody that was like above the Mason-Dixon line did not want to come down to the South. So you had folks in Chicago.
So bourgeoisie stayed up north.
Yeah, they stayed up north. And the sign, basically the tale was down south they had kings. Up north they were still running like more like a democracy. But down south, like specifically Alabama line, they had kings. And so nobody wanted to go to Alabama. What's crazy is this young girl, she wants to go to Alabama. And specifically I think it's Orange Beach that's in Alabama. Okay. I think it's specifically the Orange Beach is where she wants to go. And the reason she wants to go there is because she heard tales that there are still white people, but only in Orange Beach, Alabama. And so they do the travel, and I'm gonna make a long story short now. We're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna talk about what it means to be black. But they travel, and the beauty of the story is as they're traveling, she's meeting her father for the first time, but she was raised in Wisconsin with probably the whitest of the whitest family, right? Mm-hmm. And so, she's not necessarily understanding what her father's coming from. She's hurt and pissed off that her whole white family has been taken from her, and she's even more mad that she only has black people to interact with, right? Also, she's half black, right? So she's still wrestling with her identity, and just the idea of it. The beauty of this journey that they take is that as they're taking the journey, she's slowly finding out who she actually is. Yeah. And as I'm reading the book, I'm slowly asking myself, who the fuck am I in this world if you were to take the labels off of me that people have put onto me? You know, if we were to take off the label of Mikhail the therapist, or Sam, the government worker, or Warren the salesman, like whatever it is, like who are you when you are not labeled by a white person or by white society? What are we as a people? You know, and it's crazy because I was walking around asking people, like I started while I was reading the book, I'm asking people, like, if white people weren't around, who would you be? Somebody said you look like Cuba Gooding Jr., Mikhail. But
which version?
I don't know.
Show me the money.
Show me the money, right? But yeah, like, so who are you? Like, who would you be, bro? And what society would look like? And I asked my brother, I was like, yo, so what would society look like if white people wasn't around? He's like, oh man, it'd be chaos, it'd be crazy, it'd be this, it'd be that. And I was like, what make you think that?
Yeah.
You know, what makes you think that? So I'm gonna ask you both, who are you? If somebody didn't label you,
if I wasn't labeled a black man, basically, or the things that come with that. I mean, not even my professional capacity, but just, I mean, to me, I'll be what I am, a human being. And I don't mean to like minimize it, but it's just, what I mean is that, I use this thing called a feeling wheel in practice so that people can understand their emotions. But the way I introduce the feeling wheel is, this is a human being that you're looking at. All of these emotions exist. So understand that without the title of being a black man, I'm free of anxiety. I'd be, of a constant state of anxiety. I think I would be free of this paranoia of having to try to figure out someone's intention when they look at you. The ability to drive down the street without panic in my heart. The ability to go shopping without being monitored like a child. The ability to do hard things without people feeling like you got in that role because of your color, not because of the merit of your ability. Like, you would just be able to be a human being without judgment. So it sounds great to me. In the concept, of course, it sounds horrible. You think about it, it's a global genocide, and it's like, I'm still trying to process that part of it, to be honest.
Look, realistic. 8906 says he's from Bellingham, Washington, and they show them a coldness there, their attitudes that act like that black people are invisible.
Yes. Oh wow.
But even in that, bro, like you thinking about, you're a human being. You just said I'm a human being. I have to. But you're saying that's who you would be if they weren't around, right?
Right. While they're around, I'm an avatar.
Wow.
And all right, I'm trying to answer this the best way. Now, are there still like my Latino brothers around?
There's still Latinos. There's still. It was funny because they went to the airport and there was some Chinese people at the airport. They're like, oh shit, you see no Chinese people, but it was just white.
Okay.
Caucasians.
Caucasians.
Now,
yes.
For me,
full Caucasians.
I'll be, because it's kind of like a two-part answer on my end. Like, if I was still in Columbus, my answer would be different. But staying in Atlanta, Staying in Atlanta is a little bit different because, I would feel a certain way because I do have, white friends. Like, I would be heartbroken, that they are going off into the ocean. And I do take the white friends that I do have, we're able to have those, hard hitting discussions without malice. I'm able to educate them on certain things. They're able to educate me on certain things. So I do feel we learn from each other. It's just what type of, whites are you around or what type of whites are you privy to? Unfortunately, the powers that be, majority of those don't have people that look like us, our best interests. So I could see from a systematic approach, I believe things would be better for us overall. But for the ones that are, you know, have an understanding and want to understand and want the betterment and equality of all people, I'll be disheartened that they're no longer here. But to ask myself, if you remove, them outside of work, I would, outside of work, where I'm one of the best code switchers of all time and take great pride in it, I would still be me. Like, I would still be, the loving husband, the loving friend, the loving uncle, the real, friend you lean on. And hell, sometimes I may need to lean on you, being vulnerable, being open. I would still be the same person I am with or without them because I was ingrained that way. Like, my father was military. Well, both my parents were military.
Yeah.
I had, even in Columbus, I can remember my dad having white friends, but also teaching me, hey, it's a certain code of conduct that you have to be this way here and that way there. It's an old, it was a so old adage.
No, go ahead.
Nah, my dad would say this, and I still say it to this day. It may not be politically correct, but he was like, hey, don't be acting like no nigga in front of white folks. Like, but I get where he, like, as a child, I didn't fully understand it. But then when I get older and think about what his generation had to deal with, to whereas I got to be 1,000 times better just to get an opportunity. And if one of us fuck up, they put it on all of us.
Bruh, but that's the crazy thing about this book, bro, because there's an aspect of it where you're breaking down all of the things that they told you not to be. You get what I'm saying? They're telling you don't be. Some things are innately how we are as black people, right? But there's an aspect of what it means to be black that they put on us. Black people are a peaceful people. You get what I'm saying? Overall, we have been a peaceful people. But there's this idea, this thought that has been placed upon us that make it seem as if, oh, no, don't go out there acting like this. Don't go out there acting like that. Yeah. But then in this book, because all white people are gone, there's an interaction that occurs, right? Where they're going into an old house. And of course, the thing about the houses now is black people moved. They're like, okay, well, I don't have to stay in the hood. I'm just gonna pull up to the suburbs and take a white person's house. Like, you just take all the pictures down. Like,
reverse colonization.
It's right. Shit is crazy as fuck. You gotta read this book.
I'm getting the book. Right now.
It's a crazy ass mind fuck. But what happens is, there's a scene where he's riding with his daughter. They went to go pick something up from his daughter's like aunt's house or something like that. And there was somebody there, and that somebody basically grabbed his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he grabbed the daughter. The daughter was in Wisconsin, raised by white folks. She a gun-toting white. She thinks she's a white woman, right? And so she dropped the gun, and he picks up the gun, right, to try to protect his daughter, and she just like, he's about to shoot this guy because this guy is has a hold of his daughter, and he was like, you know what? And she was like, shoot him. He was like, nah. If I shoot him now, like, we only shoot at each other because these white folks brought guns.
Now you struck in there with me.
It's right, like the reason we even using this fucking gun is because this is how they handled their disputes. And so it's like, if I start shooting black people now that they are gone, I'm basically penetrating them back into this new society. We have an opportunity here to be what we've always wanted to be. And in that moment, he put the gun down and said, hey man, like basically negotiate with Buddy, like let her go and get off, going to the woods. We was only gonna be here a couple minutes. We're taking what we need to take and we won't be out. And of course, Buddy let her go. He was going, he was going through what he was going through. But that's what was crazy about this book and what's going on is that you're going against what you've learned in real time from a society that's created something that you were never meant to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said, Warren, when you were talking about like, don't go over there acting like this. It's like, bro, we never acted like, you get what I'm saying? That was the acting like a nigga. Where does that come from?
Like, what does that even?
What does that even mean?
I mean, I know what he meant.
No.
That's
but I get what you.
Yeah. No, that's the point. The implied idea of what acting like a is institutionalized. It's taught. It's if you were never taught what an N-word act like, how would you define it?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And so, he's right. I only have guns because they do. I've always explicitly said I have no interest in shooting my people.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. If they would give up their guns, you can have mine. I can fight. You know what I'm saying? But I'm matching your energy.
Exactly.
And so it's interesting the fact that you kind of brought in, they're the ones that brought guns to our society, and that has been the playbook since from the beginning, in Africa.
Since the beginning.
In Africa. You know, I don't know if we're gonna go in that deep part of it, but they literally have always had an institution of slavery available to them, and it was always on the back end of giving us guns.
That's just one aspect, and throughout the book, there's several different things or aspects of our society that are getting deconstructed. And I'm not going to give away the book, but it is.
Yeah, I already got it.
It's one of those books that you just have to read.
I already picked it up.
And see,
I'm looking down. I was like,
he's like, bro, I'm not fucking around. But no, bro, and I do need to shout out the author since we're talking about his book. His name is Sebo Campbell.
Sebo Campbell.
Yeah, and I picked his book up at the Village bookstore in downtown Atlanta. The guy that runs that store, he always has great he has great suggestions. And what I told him when I go in there is like, what is a book that I should not walk out of here without? And that was the book he gave me. He was like, bro, this is the book. He said, read the first line. And I read the first line. I said, okay, I'm hooked. I'm in. Okay, so I want to talk about the journey. I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about the journey that happens in this book, because they're journeying from DC. When they went to Chicago. Actually, they went from Wisconsin to Chicago, and they're flying from Chicago down to Mississippi, and they'll make their way to Alabama so that they can get to Orange Beach so that she can meet her white family. She was given a note at her door. That's why she want to go to Orange Beach. That basically, we're not all going. There are some of us that are still here in Orange Beach. Now, to add on to what you were saying, Warren, there are some blacks that were so entrenched into white society in this book that they felt as if the rapture happened and everybody went to heaven except for them. They said that they thought that the white people in this book were living their lives so right that God came and got them, and that black folks that were left behind. That's what they were calling the left behind black folks.
Mm.
The ones that were still so entrenched in white society that they were basically every day praying at the river, hoping to get the courage that the white folks had
to walk
in
and
and never walk out. Of
Uncle Ruckus's.
Hey, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I would call them Uncle Ruckuses or what. I don't know what I would call them, but there's a name for them in the book. But I'll say, as they're journeying, they're seeing these black folks that are doing that, right? And the little mixed white girl on the inside of her feels like she's less courageous because she couldn't go into that water with her family, right? She tried, but she couldn't stay. You know what I'm saying? She tried to end it, but she couldn't, right? So she has this like survivor's guilt that's going on, right? To add to the story, her father was only in jail because, you know, he was accused of raping her mother.
Jesus Christ.
Deep, Mikhail. This book is deep. And so as they're journeying, he doesn't know when he can tell her this. She's looking at like, you never came, you never called me, you never talked to me. However, his even though her mother supposedly hated this man so much because that's what she was told, she named the daughter after her father. So, but you know what happens when white girls get caught, having sex with white girls back in the day. And so that's essentially what's going on in this storyline. And so when they get down, long story short, they get down to Mississippi, they drive into Alabama. Alabama does have a king, and the king does not fuck around. Literally, once they crossed the border, there was a school bus of children with guns, ready to arrest them and take them to the king. And it started off as a hostile feeling because they thought once they crossed over to Alabama, they felt kind of weird because, after everybody had passed, there were cars on every highway, all of this other stuff. When they crossed into Alabama, there were no cars on the highway. The highway was open road, clear.
Clean, yeah.
They got arrested, right? They were taking them to the king, but the road to the king is clear and clean. The vegetation and the farms are still flourishing. They're passing by people and they're happy. And then they get to the compound and plantation where the king and the king and the queen and his family and everybody stays. And it is in Mobile, Alabama. And they realized that they misjudged what they thought Alabama would become under black leadership. It has actually been more structured. It's been
complete opposite.
Everybody wakes up and works using whatever talent that they have. They give all of their talents to the community. Whether it be farming, whether it be mechanical, if you're good with mechanical things, you're fixing the electrical grid, you're doing things to benefit society for a certain person of the day, and you choose what that is. And then at night, everybody comes together and eats dinner together in a huge, gathering where everybody comes, they're eating and they're, fellowshipping. And then, of course, like I said, in the morning, they some go to the farm, some do this, some do that. But it's literally black synergy. All black people coming together and working together in a society where there's no money. There's no, I need to buy this, I need to do that. It's literally everyone just contributing to society. And even the ones that don't contribute, they make sure that they're fed. They make sure that they have a place to stay. They make even the ones that just decide, even the ones that are just worshiping the white gods and waiting for God to come get them, they still take care of them. They still have markets. They still let them get the food. All of that is still happening while this is all going on. As you can imagine, this is a huge mind fuck for the the old girl, because she was thinking that Alabama is going to be the most savage of all of the black people that she's ever encountered. And what ends up happening is they end up essentially teaching her. She wants to go to Orange Beach. They say, okay, before you go to Orange Beach, you have to stay here in this flavor that we got here. You have to marinate in this seasoning that we have here in Mobile. Mardi Gras is on the way. You know, Mobile is the home of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
You know, people
they'll let you know that.
Yeah, and they'll let you know that, right? and this is something I appreciate about the author. The author does a really good job of just making it clear that he's done his research, right? Mobile is the home of Mardi Gras. The king and the queen, they learn how to govern black people because they spent time in the only free black republic that freed themselves from white existence. Haiti,
yeah.
They spent time in Haiti and brought what they learned from living in Haiti back to Mobile right before the incident occurred. And so that's how they become the president of the space.
Yeah, technically they came back. They were already ready to do.
They were already prepared. There's a twist to that. I'm not going to give you the twist.
Yeah. I'm
not giving you that. I think I've given you enough. But there's a couple of quotes that that I wanted to speak on, and then we can kind of elaborate on the conversation of what it's like being black without the idea of it relating to what white people see us as. One quote I see that I wrote down was, and this is the young lady talking to one of the young lady talking to one of the new, like the princess that's there that, you know, is trying to teach her what it's like to really be black. She's like, she says, y'all act like I am black, but y'all don't carry black like I carry it. And and the response was, it's because you're wrong. You think black is something to carry, but black actually carries us. And then there's another quote, and this is one of the quotes I was like, you know what, this is something I'm going to carry with myself. It says, your value, the way that you see yourself, is based on all the things you're willing to accept about yourself. And that's two quotes that were told to the young lady as she's trying to figure out, trying to figure out, who she is, and before she has to stay for Mardi Gras. And so the reason that resonated with me so much is because I feel as if black existence is a stripped existence in not just the United States, but in the world. It's a existence where it's what we don't want you to be. You get what I'm saying? It's everything. It's like it's a space where it's like, we want you to be, we want to put you in this box. This is what we want black people to be. You get what I'm saying? And it strips us of our power, really.
Let me think about that, because what I would say, when I was in Ghana, I felt like it was illustrated what was happening in Alabama, what's happening in Ghana of sorts. They still, they had currency still, but it was like the people settled into whatever their skill was, and it wasn't really about just the blackness, because like I said earlier, I'm an avatar, which is whatever they wanted me to be. When they see me, whatever they think of black people, that's who I am. And in spaces where it's the majority of black people, I'm not even a black person.
You're just a person, right?
I'm just a person.
Yeah.
And therefore, if I go into that space and say, well, I'm a mental health therapist, okay, but in America, I'm a black mental health spirit. Like there's something unique about that
Yeah.
attribute, not just the skill set, but my skin color. And that's where, learning to be black is, it sounds almost like something you wouldn't want to do. You know what I mean?
No, I'm here. I'm there with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I hear
Cause
you.
I'm stuck. Cause when Warren said this, there was like, don't act like a nigga. Yeah. Don't. What does that mean exactly? You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning to be whatever this person thinks I should be. Hence that the reference, because in Ghana or in Kenya, shout out to Ghana and Kenya. Man, I just felt like a regular. Man, we went to a restaurant in Kenya that rivaled any bougie fly ass restaurant you find in Brookhaven or like that.
Right.
And it was so many opportunities. Like, I'm gonna tell you how simple it is, how different it is. If your phone is dying, right, and you need a charge, if you're at a restaurant, will they charge your phone?
No.
In most
No.
cases, no.
No. In most cases, unless you flirting with the hostess,
Right.
it's not happening. And
Right.
you know what's even further? They actually go far. They go further than that. They make it so the outlets don't work around you,
That's
so that
right.
you don't use their electricity. Like, you'll notice that.
Not in Kenya, not in Ghana. In Ghana, you could be shopping and your phone dies, and you say, "Hey, can you charge my phone for me?" And they'll say, "Yes." You could leave the store and go do other stuff and come back and get your phone, and you ain't worried about nobody taking it.
Mm.
Now, I went to two separate countries, and the experience was the same. Even in Kenya, when we came in, the lady they have the reservation thing. Where you give them your cell phone number, and
Yeah.
I gave, because I had WhatsApp, so it was cool. But I gave them my telephone number, and they said we're gonna text you when the table's ready, like they do here.
Yeah.
And my phone was like 20% because I had let the kids hold my battery. And I told the lady, I was like, I should hold my phone on that. She says, "Well, do you need a charge?" I was like, "Yeah." Man, I look over behind they got a whole thing where they charging people's phone.
Mm.
I'm talking about iPhone 17. I'm talking about stuff,
Yeah, no,
Huawei,
yeah.
Huawei, stuff we don't have over here that we want. All up on this little bookshelf. And charging. When we were eating, Courtney needed a charge. She went over there and sat with the hostess and talked to her and charged her phone. Like, it's just people being kind and and being social and not thinking that you there to harm somebody.
Being communal.
Community. Like,
But
it was
understand, it's and I think that when you read the book, you'll start to see,
Mhm.
and I'll be fair. I'm gonna be fair about my critique of the book. It's not a perfect book, but in my opinion, the idea and the thought that brought this book to life
Yeah.
was a God-given idea.
Yeah.
Like, it was something that came from the spirit, and I hope that if we get the chance, I can find that brother and see if we can interview that brother. But when I tell you the essence of the book, whether you like how how things happen in the book or the ending, the beginning, whatever, just the essence of the fact that he was able to put that together, to, if there's somebody struggling with who they are in the world and what their existence means, I just feel as if this gives you a fresh kind of perspective, an approach. When I told you earlier that I was present in my life, it wasn't, reading that book was a part of that. It made me realize, like, damn, I'm worried about what people think and what and what the outside factors and all of this and that, when it's like, it's more important for me to be here, impact, talk. You talking about that community that you're feeling, y'all at a restaurant, you get to meet the hostess. She's not just there to serve, a purpose. You actually got a chance to, I need to charge my phone, but I get to take advantage of meeting another human being, communing with a soul. And I think that we pass by each other so often that we don't see or view or kind of feel that. But even like my brother from Washington, it wasn't until I was in Portland where I ain't seen a black person in 3 months that I understood the I was walking in a grocery store. Mikhail, you laughing? I'm dead ass serious. I had been there 3 months and didn't see one black person, bro. And I'm talking about I wasn't in the house. I was outside.
You trying to check out stuff.
I'm literally in the grocery store and I pass a black person and I walk backwards like I'm like,
hey,
what the fuck are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, where are we?
Yeah.
And I think that's that and even that it was a real it was a real experience. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a real experience. It was literally, we both looked at one another like, I've been in this grocery store for weeks and I haven't seen a black person. And you're the first that I've seen. And we're gonna commune. We're going to speak.
Yes.
What are you doing? I ended up going to kickball and softball and meeting up at Applebee's. Just because it's the first black person I met, and there's just there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in that. And I feel as if we could be anywhere in the world and we still have that. Yeah. Whether white people were here or not, this is something that we have, that we'll always have, because it's the essence of our being.
I mean, to add on to that, two things. Yeah, Portland is very, very, very lack of melanin. I saw that when I went to go visit my two homeboys that stays out there. But
what brought them out there?
Nike, probably Nike and Adidas. That's it.
Yeah, Nike. He when we were in college, he always talked about working for Nike. So when he got that opportunity, he was out there. He still works for them, like been 20 plus years now.
Mikhail, how did I know that? How did I know that?
Right. Never met the man, and he knows.
I know why he's
at Nike campus. Everything.
Yeah.
I was like, hey,
the Nike campus is beautiful, bro.
Yeah,
and it's full of a bunch of black folk. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say
that's hilarious.
It's like, that's why I do appreciate Atlanta so much, because when my wife likes to go to other cities, it ain't too many of us there, and I start looking around. I'm like, yo, bro, like, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. Like, like, what you mean I ain't seen no black? When I go visit my godparents and Muscle Shoals, we'll go to the movies, and we'll be the only, let's say it's a Marvel movie. Yeah. We the only black people there, and I'm like, yo, like, I don't ever experience this in Atlanta. Right. Like,
it's
like, it's different world. But going back to the point, going to what I talked about earlier with my my white friends that I have, we were having, one of them is a big T supporter, and we were having a debate about certain things in life.
Little T,
man, he said I don't get it, because we're having a conversation about, like, how blacks are held back in certain aspects, and he was like, but I see blacks flourishing, doing well. Some of my friends are black, they have their own businesses, doctors, lawyers, whatever. And I was like, I ain't gonna say his name, but I was like, bro, you in Atlanta, take a step outside of this city, go around and see the rest of the world, how they do us. Like, I promise you. And I've been blessed, because Columbus is one of the cities where they have a lot of flourishing blacks as well. So I've been blessed to be in two cities where they have flourishing blacks. Yeah, we're a little bit more country in Columbus, but different. But like, going to the other cities, seeing the rest of the world, like, no. And I had to tell him, like, look, man, you kind of got a skewed view of what it's like for black people here. Like, outside 100%. Of us in DC, 100%. Hey, bro, it's really, really rough out here in these streets for us. So I said, you're looking from, rose-colored glasses on, like, what's going on in the world when it comes to us. So, like, yes, it may seem that way, but it is not like that. Like, you got to have a conversation with a black person in Wisconsin.
Bro,
have a conversation with a black person
Ohio.
in Arkansas.
Ohio, yeah.
Like no,
mean,
they are not going to talk the same way
bruh,
I do. I promise you.
Let me tell you, bro. I was just having this conversation this week, bro, and I'm glad you brought up the Atlanta piece because I think there's this debate about Black Mecca. What's Black Mecca? Where is it? You know, is Atlanta the Black Mecca? Is this that? You know, all of this and that, right? And I had to tell someone like Atlanta is different than all of the other black places where black people are. And what makes us different is black people in all the other places that they are at, whether and I'm going to go past politics, whether it's Democrat, state, whatever. You're only tolerated. You're only tolerated. In Atlanta, you cannot overlook the blacks in Atlanta because blacks in Atlanta, to a certain degree, is the home of civil rights. It's where a culture was built that you will not ignore us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? For instance, with everything going on in the country, you know, black folks aren't losing their contracts in Atlanta. When they decided they were going to get AP African American Studies out of schools, you know, in all these other places, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, you know, Florida, Texas, within a week, Georgia, we tried it. They tried it. They tried it in Atlanta. Within a week, they was like, yeah, nah, we don't want those kind of problems because black people are not just embedded in the census number. We're embedded in the economy.
Yeah, we're part of the gears.
We're part of what makes Georgia run.
Right.
Yeah. And any point in time, we can hit a pressure point and knock some of this off of the rails. Now, I'm not saying that we're almighty and all powerful, but it's going past tolerance for us.
Yeah, you gotta see us.
You gotta see us.
You gotta see us, and that's why they target us. That's why the FBI has been targeted towards our elections, not just in Georgia, but specifically the greater Atlanta area. The reason why they're changing laws for the most black counties, but not all the rest of the 150 some odd counties.
taking the R and the D off of of the metro Atlanta counties.
Right. What is that?
Well,
so
yeah.
But you know, a lot of people don't realize, and I think it's still true to this day. But it was a point where the economy of Atlanta specifically was larger than the states around Georgia combined. So that's that significance being in the hands of people that are not white is unnerving for them. It's very much like I was looking at the history of Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah,
you know, they didn't want to be governed by black people, so they decided to have a coup, and they killed people and burned down the newspaper and
did whatever they could.
Did what they wanted to. Made the black representatives resign at gunpoint. All of that, just because they didn't feel comfortable, even though there was harmony.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not new. You know, I had said a long time ago. I've been saying that, you know, part of the strategy here is to maintain some level of subservience, some type of slave class.
Yeah.
And that's how our laws are written. It started in Africa when they gave the Ashanti tribe guns.
Yeah.
For gold. And then they were like, well, yeah, you can't just keep, you know, conquering people and bringing them into your community. They're gonna try to overthrow you once you sell them to us.
Yeah.
And that started the slave trade. So that's what I'm trying to say. So fast forward, with Bloods and Crips, for example, give them guns, let them shoot each other, go clean it up, pick up the ones that are alive, put them in slavery. It's the same play that they did in Africa. They're doing it now under these systems. And a lot of people just don't see that. Like, I'm from Macon, Georgia. Why do we have submachine guns there, but we don't have a factory?
It's one of those things, like it's a simple question to ask, right? And with actual simple answers, the reality of it is that is why it's more important for us to know who we are. it's more important for us to teach our kids who they are, because then they'll understand that. Once again, you talking about the guns, you'll understand like, yo, I should never be okay with killing my brother.
Ever.
I should never, like, that should be furthest from my thought process, and I think that's what I got from this book, is that the even the way I viewed my people has to change so that we can change. You get what I'm saying? Like, there are ways that we view ourselves, and I'm not saying it's not even justified, because it could be justified, but it's like, but who created the conditions for you to justify it that way?
But I mean, even if you justify it, you're not doing it's skewed, because I think about my experience. I keep talking about it because it was so impactful. When we were in Ghana and my daughter got sick, and the women that were at the facility that we were being hosted at noticed that she was sick, and they came over to me as her father and was like, "Is your daughter okay? We think she's not feeling well because you guys keep getting up and she has to go to the restroom."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, she's not feeling well. Her stomach is upset, and she hadn't eaten anything, and her stomach was upset, and she didn't have a fever. I didn't think she had a fever."
Yeah.
And the lady said, "Okay." The next thing you know, another lady came over, and they kind of had not surrounded me, but I was outnumbered.
Yeah.
And so at next thing I know, they pulling out their phone, and they said, "Would you mind if she takes some medicine?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd be happy to help her. I want to help her." And they said, "Thank you." And then next thing I know, she had a pharmacy on the phone, and she was like, "Do you guys have whatever?" Like, it was not Pepto. I think it was Pepto.
Yeah, just something for the stomach. Yeah.
And the lady was like, "Well, how many doses do you have?" And she gave her the price, and they said, "Well, they only have this kind." And the other girl said, "Well, let me call this other place." Now I'm literally just standing here, nodding as they ask me a question. They call a place. The way their Uber is set up is that they go to pharmacies and deliver medication to the people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't just the pharmacy knows that's what's happening. Like, that's part of the services there, and because they know sick people can't travel, right?
Yeah.
And so next thing I know,
go figure.
Go figure. Next thing I know, not only did they order the medicine for Michaela, had it delivered, and refused payment.
Wow.
They refused money. They said, no, that's not, no, we don't do that. And I was like, "Oh, my bad." It's almost, I didn't insult her, but
you didn't want to do that.
She's like, she corrected me, so to speak. And I was like, wow. And I ended up taking Michaela back to the hotel, and she went to sleep. Got up, she was feeling better. So the next day, because it's a 4 or 5 day event, the same ladies remembered and immediately came over to her. "How are you feeling?" And they surrounded her, and I could tell she knew. It's weird. Let me put it this way. We were in Casablanca, and the ladies out there with they would do this tattoo thing when you come out the mosque. And Michaela didn't want the henna tattoo, but the lady grabbed her arm and surrounded her. Come on. She ain't like that. She ain't like that at all. I ain't never seen her get fly like that before.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even think she had it in her. Man, we in Ghana, and the lady surrounded her just like the lady with the henna tattoos did. But her energy was different. The approach was, "How are you doing? Are you feeling better?" And she started smiling. She's like, "Yeah." She said, "Okay, we were worried about you yesterday." And she was like, "Thank you." And she was like, "Good job." And just the energy, bro, like,
it's just different.
It's just different when there's no influence on how you see your people.
Man, no influence on how you see your people. I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest point.
Right. And that's why I had to say that.
Go ahead.
I just because I know we have to conclude, but I just have to ask this question. Okay, so who are we then? Because I know thing we say on IG and the Twitter spaces or threads is black people are not a monolith. But who are we? I don't think we've answered that question.
Well, I think that the funny part about black people is we're the only people who've had to define ourselves as a whole
In America.
in America.
I've been in Cuba.
You-
Same experience.
You are a part of who you are, who you want to be, and you're just a part of the larger. And I think that's what I learned in the book is you get to wake up and be who you want to be, and be a part of the larger mechanism and a larger part of the framework of what it means to be black. But you don't have nobody should be telling you this is what you are. And you shouldn't be taking in what they tell you about who you are, because we do it more often than we can. We actually do it on autopilot now. Yeah. And I think that's what I love about the book. It really got you to point to say, okay, you think this, why do you think that? Where did that come from? You get what I'm saying? Even I guess the biggest piece was that point where he was pointing that gun. It was like, what makes me feel like that was how I should solve this problem? The guy didn't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? Why is it I felt like that is how I should have solved the problem? And I think that when you start to really deconstruct why we think the way we think, and really start to think about how the way that we think isn't rooted in love for us. It's rooted in love for the society and the system that they put together, right? And and so I think that's the biggest piece about it. And the beauty of it, Warren, is you get to be who you want to be today and decide you want to be something different tomorrow, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Thanks.
In order to conclude, for more conversations, like, by the way, guys, I enjoyed this conversation. Thank y'all for letting me share that with y'all, because I ain't gonna lie, since we haven't been talking, I had to hold this for months. I had to hold this for months.
You could have told me about this book a long time ago.
I know, but I was like, fuck it, no, when we pod again, I'll tell them about it.
Damn.
And so I'm just gonna say, like, I really appreciate y'all and I appreciate us for getting together and doing this, man. For more conversations like these, it's You Good Bro Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, You Good Bro Pod on Twitter. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, all of the things, comment. This was recorded live, so it'll be on our YouTube as soon as we finish it. So it is what it is. All right.
Show me the money.
I know, right? I'm Sam Duke, and I'm good.
Hey, I'm Tel McHale, and I'm good.
I'm Warren P, and I'm good.
And just like that, we out.
Wow.
True.